Good morning, Little Masters, and welcome back to today's Tolkien Times, a Prancing Pony podcast production. I'm the Man of the West, and it's time to wrap up week 101 with Silmarillion Saturday. These Saturdays are our chance to revisit the history and legends of the Elder Days, sometimes from the Silmarillion, but sometimes from unfinished tales, or maybe a deep cut from the history of Middle-earth. Last series, we laid a foundation for Tuor's arrival in Gondolin by reading of Maeglin and beginning of the ruin of Beleriand and the fall of Fingolfin. And though we finally arrived in Gondolin last week, there's still more material in the Silmarillion that's connected. So we'll finish up of the ruin of Beleriand and the fall of Fingolfin this week and next, which will lead us to the Nirnaeth Arnoediad next series. Now, last time we read about the Easterlings, as well as Húrin and Huor and their unexpected visit to the hidden city. This time, the brothers stay in Gondolin for a while and, surprisingly, are allowed to return home. There, Turgon the king received them, Húrin and Huor, well, when he learned of their kin, for messages and dreams had come to him up Sirion from the sea, from Ulmo, lord of waters, warning him of woe to come, and counseling him to deal kindly with the sons of the house of Hador, from whom help should come to him at need. Húrin and Huor dwelt as guests in the king's house for well nigh a year, and it is said that in this time Húrin learned much lore of the elves, and understood also something of the counsels and purposes of the king. For Turgon took great liking for the sons of Galdor, and spoke much with them, and he wished indeed to keep them in Gondolin out of love, and not only for his law that no stranger, be he elf or man, who found the way to the secret kingdom and looked upon the city, should ever depart again, until the king should open the leaguer and the hidden people should come forth. But Húrin and Huor desired to return to their own people and share in the wars and griefs that now beset them. And Húrin said to Turgon, "Lord, we are but mortal men and unlike the Eldar. They may endure for long years, awaiting battle with their enemies in some far distant day. But for us the time is short, and our hope and strength soon wither. And moreover, we did not find the road to Gondolin, and indeed, we do not know surely where the city stands. For we were brought in fear and wonder by the high ways of the air, and in mercy our eyes were veiled." Then Turgon granted his prayer, and he said, "By the way that you came, you have leave to depart if Thorondor is willing. I grieve at this parting, yet in a little while, as the Eldar account it, we may meet again." But Maeglin, the king's sister's son, who was mighty in Gondolin, grieved not at all at their going, though he begrudged them the favor of the king, for he had no love for any of the kindred of men. And he said to Húrin, "The king's grace is greater than you know, and the law has become less stern than aforetime, or else no choice would be given you but to abide here to your life's end." Then Húrin answered him, "The king's grace is great indeed, but if our word is not enough, then we will swear oaths to you." And the brothers swore never to reveal the counsels of Turgon, and to keep secret all that they had seen in his realm. Then they took their leave, and the eagles coming bore them away by night, and set them down in Dorlomin before the dawn. Their kinsfolk rejoiced to see them, for messengers from Brethil had reported that they were lost, but they would not declare even to their father where they had been, save that they were rescued in the wilderness by the eagles that brought them home. But Galdor said, "Did you then dwell a year in the wild? Or did the eagles house you in their eyries? But you found food and fine raiment, and returned as young princes, not as waifs of the wood." And Húrin answered, "Be content that we have returned, for only under an oath of silence was this permitted." Then Galdor questioned them no more, but he and many others guessed at the truth, and in time the strange fortune of Húrin and Huor reached the ears of the servants of Morgoth. Now, compared to yesterday's reading on Tuor, we go back in time here. This is the arrival of Tuor's father Huor, along with his older brother Húrin. Turgon at this point may or may not be as proud as he'll be later when warned by Tuor, but he at least remembers the dreams and messages that Ulmo has sent his way. Treat these guys well. They'll help you. And as we see in the Nirnaeth, that's precisely what happens. These two men saved Turgon, allowing him to escape back to Gondolin with his people. So these young men live in Gondolin for nearly a year, with Húrin, not Huor, interestingly, learning much lore of the elves. They got along well with the king, so well that he wanted them to stay out of love, not just because of the law. I like you guys. You should stay here because I like you, not because I'll kill you if you leave. But these are young men. Húrin is 18 and Huor only 15, and they want to go back home. But not just because it's home, I want you to see this, but because they desired to share in the wars and griefs that their people were facing. These are young men who are absolutely willing to suffer with their people. They make a two-pronged argument. First is, we're men, right? Our lives are shorter. We cannot wait in the same way that elves can wait. But second, hey, we literally don't know the way here. We were brought by air and blindfolded. We couldn't get here again if we tried. So Turgon decides it's all right to let them go so long as they leave by air as well. I mean, he can't have them leaving through the hidden way that Tuor would later arrive through. Maeglin, who is stuck here and whose father died here, well, not only does he not like men in general, he especially doesn't like these two and the fact that they're being allowed to leave. He lets them know so in no uncertain terms, and so the brothers also swear an oath. Not that that would mean much to Maeglin, one imagines. They catch the red-eye from Gondolin International Airport, landing at the small regional airport in Dorlomen before breakfast. I'm not sure whether they flew coach or first class, but it was an all-night trip. They've been gone nearly a year, so there are a lot of questions. Questions that need answering, as Gandalf might say. Not that they answer those questions. The mention of the oath stops Dad's questioning of the boys. But just that story alone may be enough. And now Morgoth knows to target them. And folks, that does it for this week's Silmarillion Saturday. Thank you for joining me. Please come back next week as Círdan comes to Fingon's rescue and Húrin inherits the leadership of the House of Hador. Please visit patreon.com/Tolkien Times to learn how you can get an ad-free feed, bonus episodes, and become a part of my content council to help decide what I'll talk about next series. Subscribe to the TTT in your podcast apps or to the PPP channel on YouTube, and be sure you're following @PrancingPonyPod on social media. Finally, as Faramir says, go with the goodwill of all good men.